Hello, boys and girls. We are looking at the central message. Again, we will be using a fable. Let's review central message. On Tuesday, we looked at this little diagram here, and it shows us the details are the pieces of popcorn. We collect them to find our central message, the lesson the author wants the reader to learn. We find our central message through collecting the pieces of popcorn. The beginning, we find the characters and setting. The middle, the problem. We know the problem is what a character wants or needs but can't get. Finally, we go to the end of the story. There we are either going to we might find a solution, but we will definitely find a lesson. And the lesson is the central message. Central message is what the author wanted to teach us. As promised, I told you today we are going to learn what a fable is. Some of you may already know this. However, I want to go over what a fable is. A fable is a short story to teach the difference between right and wrong. So we learn by reading these stories, there's a character who's not making a good decision, and there's a character who is making a good decision. And the author wants to show us this through a story. These stories were spoken, not written, many, many, many years ago. So they weren't written down. They didn't open a book. They just spoke the story. But now they can be found in books. Lucky for us, because we get to read all these wonderful fables. Let's look at the characteristics of the fables. Look, they have animals. If you notice that the fables that you read, they are all animals in these stories. And not only are there animals, but they're animals acting like humans. They have human characteristics. They wear clothes, they talk, they walk or run, and they eat like a human. Look at this pig. He's wearing clothes. He's standing straight up. He's talking. We know pigs don't look like that, but in these stories, they do. Also, a characteristic of a fable is the stories have a central message. Every fable will have a central message that teaches you right from wrong. So when we look at our fable today, we are going to find the characteristics of that there are animals as the main characters, and they're going to be talking, and they're going to be acting like humans. So before we read, let's review. We're going to be looking for the beginning, the middle, and the end. And remember, the beginning, the characters and setting, the middle is the problem, and the end is the solution to find the lesson. I want to show you this before we read. Here's a graphic organizer that will help us locate the central message. We have put the title of the book here. We put the setting of where is this story taking place? When is this story taking place? Like in time. What season is it? So we're going to look for that. We're going to look for the beginning of the story. Remember, the beginning is the introduction of the characters. We've already added the setting here, so we know it's the setting and the characters, but right here we're going to add the characters. The middle, once we find the character that has a problem, we're going to put it here. We're going to find a character who wants or needs something but can't get it. Then we're going to see, is there a solution? Did this character get what he needed or wanted? He may not, she may not, but we know there will definitely be a central message. So let's look for that information in this story. So we know our story is going to have animals as the characters. Here it is, the ant and the grasshopper, our two characters are the ant and the grasshopper that we know so far. Maybe there's more, but we know there's at least 2 characters. Mission: read the story below, find the central message. As we're locating information, we can jot it down. We can put it on our graphic organizer, or we can read this whole thing first and go back. You choose when you're reading by yourself. I suggest we're going to read this whole thing and we'll go back into the text to find that information to put on a graphic organizer, okay? So you can read along with me, or you can sit back and listen. We're looking at that first piece of popcorn right now, the beginning. Once there was an ant and a grasshopper who lived in a field. Ding, 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 introduced me to characters and told me where the setting is. Every day, Ant got up early and walked far to gather seeds. She balanced one seed on her head at a time, walked it back to her home, and then went again to the field to gather more. She was very small, so the walk was very long. She worked the whole day without ever stopping to rest. So we learned a lot about Ant, didn't we? We learned that Ant gets up early, she gathers seeds, she works the whole day without ever stopping to rest. She's very busy working. As Ant worked, Grasshopper, ding, 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 second character has just been introduced. Let's pay attention. Grasshopper spent his days playing music, lazing in the sun. "Why do you work so hard, Ant?" he laughed. "Summer is here. Why waste the sunshine gathering seeds?" The author just gave us information about Grasshopper and gave a little bit of character traits about him. Using the word lazing, the root word, if I was to block off this ing, lazy, in the sun. So when I think about that character, I'm thinking he does not work like Ant, does he? While Ant is busy, Grasshopper is relaxing and laughing at Ant. Ant ignored Grasshopper's teasing and continued gathering, which only made Grasshopper laugh even more. "You are a silly little ant," he said. Autumn came, and then winter. The days were short. Ding, 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 ding. We just learned more about our setting of when. We knew this happened in the summer, then autumn, now it's winter. Snow fell on the farmer's field, burying the plants and seeds that had been so easy to get. Grasshopper had no food to eat. Is this important? Is this a problem? Does a character need or want something but can't get? Grasshopper had no food to eat. "What will I do? I am hungry," Grasshopper said to himself. Here is the problem. The author just introduced the problem. Grasshopper is hungry. He has no food to eat. Grasshopper wants food. He doesn't have any. Then remember how many seeds Ant had stashed away during the summer. This is our second piece of popcorn, guys. We already have our first, the characters and setting. We now have our second, the problem. Grasshopper hurried to Ant's home. He knocked on her door. "Ant," he said, "give me some seeds." Ant looked at Grasshopper. "I worked hard all summer long while you laughed at me," Ant said. "You should have worked in the summer instead of singing and dancing. Then you would have a full belly now." That's the end of the story. So let's think about the pieces that we have of the story, the beginning. Remember, we introduced the characters, the setting, and the story up to the problem. The story took place in a field during the summer, autumn, and winter. Ant and Grasshopper are the two main characters. They're the only characters. Ant was very busy gathering food for winter. Grasshopper made fun of Ant for working and did not gather food. There's the beginning of our story. Middle talks about the problem, what the character wants or needs but can't get. Grasshopper was hungry but had no food to eat. The end, the solution. How does the character get what he needs or wants? He didn't. He didn't get the food. There was no solution. However, there was a lesson. Grasshopper, he will continue to be hungry unless he finds food because he played all summer instead of working. And Ant has food because she worked all summer long preparing for winter. What do you think the central message is? What did the author want to teach you? What was right? What was wrong? The message the author wants us to learn. The ant, work first, then play, so you can be prepared. What did the grasshopper learn? If you only play and don't work, you won't be prepared. Here's our graphic organizer. Right here, we would type in the title and fill this in. We're not going to do this because we don't have time. So the next time we meet, using this, I am going to teach you how to do this. I might make an extra video for those that are really interested in using this and put it on extra work. You don't have to do that. You can choose to do it. I'll see if I have time to do that. If I do, maybe you can do it over the weekend for fun. If not, we'll do it next week.